You just don't talk about stuff like this unless they allow it. I mean, don't you think that they would have cut the radio off by now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is pretty. And James Casbolt, I mean, I can confirm some of the stuff that he said. I mean, he's telling you the truth too. I mean, but James, if you're listening, don't let it perplex you like it does. Don't be afraid of these things. You're covered by the blood of Christ, and they have no power over you. And where a lot of people make mistakes is they step into this realm like there'll be some listeners saying, okay, I'm going to do the research on this, and I'm going to go find out for myself. Brother, you better be well prayed up and almost a prophet, and you better know that God chose you for this, because you'll end up either getting killed in the process or die of fear, one or the other.
Wow.
You can't just walk into something like this. The fear, I mean, I was groomed for this. I mean, I believe I was brought into that meeting just to see it. For years to come, they knew that I would let the cat out of the bag. I mean, eventually, you think about it, unless they're directly involved and want to be part of it, eventually all of us are going to let it out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're going to try to shut down the Internet. I believe they're going to let it go on for so long. They're going to say, okay, that's enough warming up now. Now let's regulate and shut down Daniel Lott. And Art Bell will never be shut down. I do believe that Art Bell is on the fence, and he does have some intriguing shows, but his show, in my opinion, is not as good as yours and Zap's and Warren Radio. You guys, I would rather hear the truth than lies. And I think George Norrie gives everybody a pretty fair shake, but I remember a day when you couldn't even say the word Bible on Art Bell's show. But Buddy Benjamin, Baruch, and Zeph really perplexed them. But I remember after Benjamin was on there, Art Bell saying that was the hardest interview that he has ever done in his life, in his 40 years of radio, he said. He said, what do you say about a man who says he talks to God and answers a question with a question that can't be answered? And I asked Ben, did he know that he said that? And Ben does not listen to his shows afterwards. He told me he doesn't listen to his, in other words, when he does a show, and Ben's a great man of God, and I believe he says what he's got to say, and he doesn't need to listen to it again. He's probably heard it enough, but when the Lord told him.
Okay. We have some questions we want to get to now for you. This is from the UK. They want to know, have you heard anything about the Organi War and the effect it's having on the aliens and their water supplies?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Could you familiarize me with that?
No.
I'd kind of like to know what the Organi War.
This first I've heard of it. So
what is that? A race of human?
I don't know, but I would say to the writer over there in the UK, we have posted. Well, of course, it went up the line there. We put your email into the live chat. That one you gave earlier. So hopefully that listener is listening and will email you directly.
Tell him to, if you're listening, would you explain that to me? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, because you might be tough. I know that, the Illuminati's having a power struggle within, mm-hmm. and I was told that there was something like there's three numbers to the amount of money that the Bilderberg's worth. Take three numbers, like 999, and put 30 zeros behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not about money. And you got to remember this thing, the love of money, just like homosexuality, I believe a lot of them in Hollywood and stuff fall prey to this wickedness because they have so much money. They've done it all, seen it all, and there's just nothing else they do. And I believe that homosexuality is the most powerful demon, reptilian run operation on the earth. I believe there's almost, and I'm not saying there isn't, because a guy named Dennis Jordan, who has a great ministry, and he was married now and has 7 kids, talks about his homosexuality before he became born again, and it was a choice. He said it was not a genetic failure, it was a choice. And I believe that you have to be reprobate, and I do believe that the reptilians have a real powerful say in that. For the simple reason it's a hot agenda, and it's one of the... What was the last straw, really, when you read the Bible, of God destroying a city? Sexual perversion was it, and the murder of innocent blood. Now, the murder of innocent blood goes back a long time, and when a man and a woman, a true virgin woman, have relations for the first time after they're married, a virgin bleeds because it's a blood pact. So, and that's why God, it was in the Old Testament, it was a blood pact. But now that we're broken from the law, I believe that when you become born again, whether you've been a whore, that you are a virgin again in the eyes of God. But I do believe that that agenda is totally demonic and really reptilian in nature and controlled by the reptilians. I'll tell you somebody who I believe is one. It's all my heart, and that's Rosie O'Donnell. I believe she's a reptilian, and I believe that she is playing to their agenda. She is probably one of the wickedest Hollywood person that you could pick out.
Yeah, I don't think you can go too far with that imagination, because that seems right up her alley there.
It really does, and she's blatant about it. She's cold-hearted, cold-blooded.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to be on the end of one of her tirades. So.
No, there's no truth in her.
Hey, we have, speaking of reptilians and who is and who's not, basically, is Ron Paul a reptilian? Do you think? Or no?
I don't know.
All right, up for debate on that one.
I mean, I'm really just telling you the truth. I'm not going to lie.
No, well, sure. That's all we can ask.
I just don't know. All these people look for these signs to tell if somebody's reptilian or not. And you're dealing with a very complex enemy. And God says in the Bible, take heed that no man deceives you. That means everything. I had was a talk with a brother, and we agreed to disagree, but I believe deception is deception. Mm-hmm. No matter how little or how small, if you fall prey to it, we were talking about Masons being in the church and that some of them are born again. Well, how can that be, especially nowadays when Masons and Skull and Bones, they're all tied to the Illuminati, which goes to the reptilian race. They just don't know that they're in an evil thing. Well, then they're deceived. It's deception. You can't be a Mason. I don't care what degree, especially now, what level you're in, and not know that it's deception from the information that's in the world. You mention the word Freemason to anybody nowadays, and they know. They know that it's not right. Mm-hmm. And they've got a new organization called Ex-Freemasons for Jesus. And these are guys who have repented of it. So if it wasn't wicked, folks, why would they be doing Ex-Freemasons for Jesus, for crying out loud?
Point taken. Okay, I want to get to a couple questions coming through our list on our live chat. Do you know anything about the Dulce base?
About the what?
The Dulce base, D-U-L-C-E.
U-L-C-I?
D-U-L-C-E.
I can't. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
That's Dulce, D-U-L-C-E.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that's mentioned a lot of times.
And when I say that because right off my recollection, I don't know, but there's a lot of things that are, the names change a lot, like S4 changed to Area 51. All I know it is S4.